Alright, so I've been wanting to make an automated cat flusher for our cats because we go on vacation sometimes and we leave them here home all weekend and just don't really like dealing with the litter box. I was looking online and I saw a couple other people had done them, and so I decided to do one myself, but I didn't really quite like a lot of what I saw online for various reasons, and so I kind of took it a little bit further. I saw one guy that just had one that would set off a servo every like twice a day or something. Our cats are kind of picky, and if there's something in the toilet when they need to go, they don't go and they just go on the floor. So that wouldn't really work. So another guy that used these ultrasonic sensors from Adafruit, and I'll show you the website here in a sec. These guys sounded like a great idea. Like $4 a pop, which is really cheap, but after getting them and trying them out, I would just say don't waste your time with them. For one, they're really big, and so they kind of look like eyes on the toilet. The cats were kind of afraid of them. They didn't really like them. Two, they just don't work that well. They didn't really sense the cats a lot, and it was kind of a pain. I had to kind of throw in a little extra catch in the code that said if kind of just hang on for a couple seconds after you stop sensing them. Just pretend like they're still there at least for a couple seconds, and then if we get them again, it would just continue on. But it just didn't really work that well. So I ended up going with these little guys that are kind of, I mean, I've hidden them up, or I've covered them up with tape, but they're laser sensors, and here I'll put up the link, or like an image from the Adafruit site so you can see what they are. But they work amazing. I've got two of them on here just because when I was doing the sonar one, it wasn't working that well, and so I probably don't need to with these, but I haven't actually tested it with one and just kind of switched to two and just started doing it that way. So anyways, I've got two sensors down here. I've got the whole thing on the side here, and right now I've got it in an AT Mega 644 just because I've got a screen on the wall that kind of tells me where it's at, what it's doing, just for testing purposes. But with the LCD and the two sensors, AT Mega 328 just wasn't big enough as far as memory goes. So I made a little converter. All the pins just kind of run through the 328 into the 644, and when I kind of figure out all the settings as far as like distance and time and stuff, I'll put the 328 back in without the LCD. So we've got a button on the side here. This is just kind of like an auto shut off. If I push the button, it just, I got three LEDs that come on, red, yellow, and green. The button says I'm not going to do anything at all for as long as the time that is programmed into it. It says, and right now it's 7 minutes. If I push the button again, it just kind of goes back where we're sensing. Nobody is there. Those are the distances that I'm reading from each of the sensors. I got a servo on the top, kind of like how most people do. I made a little holder for it. It just runs down into the little plungery thingy and pulls it up. So we have two sensors, left and right. If I move my hand, I'm moving it close to the left one. You can see the number gets a lot smaller. Pull it away, and it goes away. It tells me, so I have it set so that if it senses within like a certain range, and it goes, oh, somebody's there, and it's going to time them for the time that I set, just so that, you know, the cats like jump on and they jump off sometimes, but they don't actually do anything. So I want to know that they've been there for a while, means they're actually going to do something. And once it hits that timer down at the bottom, then it goes, okay, I'm going to flush. So I have LEDs that are going to kind of tell me all this later after I get rid of the LCD. We've got red, means nobody's there. Red and yellow means somebody's there. It's counting down, but it's not actually going to flush. And then when we hit just yellow, that means I'm going to flush, but I'm going to wait until they get off because I don't want to scare them or anything. It's going to wait till they get off. Once they get off, it's going to start a timer, and that timer, it's not going to flush till that timer goes down. If they jump back on after, like while that timer's still counting down, it just resets. So now we're at yellow, that means I'm gonna flush, and then I move out of the way, we're at yellow and green, we're counting down to the flush, and when it hits the countdown, it then flushes. And I can stop it at any time, so if they didn't actually do anything, and I know that, I can come in here, push the button, we've got all three of the lights, and it says, oh, time has stopped. So we have, for testing purposes, because it's just kind of a pain, like they only go once or twice a day, you know, so testing's been really slow. It's kind of a pain to pull the chip out, upload code to it each time I think something needs to be changed. So I threw this in here. We've got edit mode, go through like the flushing length. That's how, sorry, I guess you guys can't see, that's how long the like plunger is gonna hold open, and that's in seconds, and we're doing like seconds, point and a half, I guess, 5.5 seconds, 6 seconds. I feel like that's pretty good. We have sensor 2 far distance length, and that's like the centimeters out how far it can sense. I mean, it can sense really far, but that's the range that it's gonna like decide somebody's there. And we have sensor 1. Really gotta work on this phone. So we have sensor 2, sensor 1, 4 stop minutes. That's when I push the button. How long I'm gonna stop for before it decides to go back to its own thing. Got sensitivity. This is kind of what I worked in for this guy. I'm not really using the sensitivity here, but if I wanted to like bump it up, then it would say once it starts sensing somebody for 11 seconds, you know, I'm going to pretend like they're still there, even if they're not. And then if they jump back on, it just continues. But I'm not really using that anymore, so leave it down to 0. We got time wait to flush. Got sense length. That's like how long it senses that they're on before it decides it's going to flush. And then we just go back out. That's pretty much it, I guess. If we see, set these to like really low, wait to flush, we'll just go down to like 3 seconds. Sense length, go down to something really low, exit. So now when I get in the way, got the yellow and red, it's going for a couple seconds. It senses, says, oh no, we're waiting for them to leave, we're just yellow, still here. I move, we're yellow and green, we'll count down, and then it goes back to red and it starts all over.